Welcome, everyone. This is Divine Dialogues, Intuitives Unveiled. I am Tracey Bango from Angels on the Prairie.
And I'm Rhonda Sean with Divine Guidance with Rhonda. And we're members of the Angel Empowerment Wellness Center. In our podcast, we're going to be delving into topics such as intuition, angelic connections, and the spiritual realm.
We're also going to talk about our own personal experiences to help you understand your own intuitive abilities. Thanks for joining us.
And let's begin. Hi, everybody. Today, Tracey and I are going to talk about kind of language and how we use it. And we're going to talk about some words that we should eliminate from our vocabulary. Because words are powerful. And what we put out into the universe will attract back to you. So some of the words that for myself is I won't use, and I'm going to say these words just so you know, but can't. For an example, I can't do something. It's what to reframe it is you can do something, you may not want to do something, but when we use those types of words or never or
It's the knots.
it's the knots.
N-O-T, not.
Yeah. Because what that does, it's part of your brain. It shuts your brain off where you're going, it's like, oh, you teach your brain how to teach things, how to say things. So if you're saying those words, you are telling yourself internally as well as externally that you're unable to do anything.
Yeah, right? I don't know if people remember the slogan for drunk driving, like don't drink and drive, and how many years it was don't drink and drive, and now you know that it, notice if you pay attention at all or see the ads that it's changed. It's like stop. Like they've changed the slogan for wherever, whatever country you're in or whatever province or state, or for that reason, because your mind doesn't acknowledge it at all. It's like you yell at your child, don't do that. Well, guess what? They hear do that.
Yes, that's right. And then, like, another thing is, like, where it's kind of changing, you always kind of want to stay in the positive. So, an example was like Mother Teresa said she won't ever go to an anti-war protest, but she'll go to a pro-peace test. So they're, in theory, they're the same thing, but it's how it's because you still hear war. Even though it's anti-war, your brain will still, if you see pictures in your head, you'll see war.
Correct, right?
So that's where words are very powerful and what you put out into the universe. So anytime, and as it's called like a growth mindset, is anytime you feel like you're kind of in that negative headspace, you can always flip it around.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
Another thing that we also kind of talk about is when we use language, we've kind of touched on this, is, oh, well, I'll do that tomorrow. Or we want something to come in, but it's always kind of put out in the future. So we always say if you want to bring something in, you see it as a now.
Oh, yes. Like if anybody has ever received reading from me, I make it quite clear that when you would like to ask for something, like you ask like you have already received it, or you want it now. Because if you ask for something for tomorrow, well, tomorrow is tomorrow, which is always tomorrow. So when you ask for something, you ask like you have already received it, and always in gratitude. Like, if you're like Rhonda, you're going to, you're in school and you will say, thank you for the amazing mark that I received on my philosophy paper.
Yeah.
Like you thank that you've already received it, even though you're still working on the essay or the paper. So they always say, we like to, Rhonda and I like to always to ask that you've
Oh,
already received
right. Okay.
or
Yeah.
you would like it now.
Yeah. And actually, with that, like, so I went back to as an older student and I did some pre work around that. And this is where the power of affirmations come in. Is I am learning with ease and grace in as little time as possible. Now, the only reason why I said as little time as possible is there was a lot of fear about taking longer to do things. Right. So what I did is I started incorporating that. And I did that. So basically when I applied was in January and I wasn't accept like for the September. So I started that affirmation right away. So and it like I know it doesn't take me nearly as long to write a 10-page essay that I typically will would be and I call in other people. But I did that intentionally so I knew that things wouldn't take as long as they typically would.
And Rhonda and I are human. Like we make mistakes, we still use the nots, the don'ts, but then we'll, not every time, but I'd 7 out of 10, we'll catch ourselves that we've said it, and then we'll say, cancel, clear, delete that, and re-say what we would really rather ask for.
Yep.
So it's like you say, okay, I can't do that. What? Well, let's just cancel, clear, delete that. And I am so able to perform that task with ease and
Yep.
always in gratitude. However you say your gratitude, whether it's just thank you or in gratitude or I'm grateful, it's whatever is the most comfortable for you. But always show your gratitude when you ask for something to your team.
Yeah. And that's where even when you're speaking to yourself, and I've believed we kind of talked about this, is even when we say stuff in kind of in jest or in joking, like I know one thing that I had to really overcome is I would say I'm stupid. And even though I didn't actually believe it or that was so stupid or something like that, it does get into your psyche or subconscious where you start having those beliefs. So it's kind of changing out some of those words for you. So it's like I'm smart, I'm intelligent, or like it's not to say you can't, or again, that you stop saying those words, but it's like just realizing that it's very intentional, even though it meant unintentional.
And the other thing is to stop feeling guilty for asking for more. An example for me is like I've always like ever since I was in the workforce, I've always said I'd be just happy as long as our money wise we're comfortable. I have a home that I love. I'm out in the country, you know, and I limited myself by saying as long as I'm just comfortable, I'll be happy. So it's okay to say, if I make 200,000 a year, no, I'd like to make 500,000 a year. So it's okay to ask for more so you stop from limiting yourself from growth. So if you like maybe you've always knew you wanted to be a nurse and so you become an RN, but there is different specialties once you've been in it for a while that you might decide you want to go. So all those opportunities will pop open when you have not limited yourself. See, let's correct that not. that I just
Mhm.
said. So it's a cancel, clear, delete. But just stop from limiting yourself. It's okay to ask for more and gratitude always. And I hope you understand that it's okay to ask for more without guilt.
Yes, I think that without guilt is the thing. And that's where you kind of look at those, like if there's resistance that pop up, that's where you're going to go, oh, why am I resistant to this? Like, what do I believe about this? Why, like, where did this come from? Can I challenge it? Right? Because, well, let's use money since we were talking. Like, a lot of people have this fear around money if they want too much, that they feel like they're greedy. They're,
They won't be happy.
yeah,
And there's the want again. See?
yeah,
It keeps popping in, guys. So it's just to bring it to your attention.
yep,
Cancel, clear, delete that.
yeah. But when you kind of have, and this is where like these exercises that you can do with that is it's going, oh, why is this not feeling comfortable? Why is this not happening? So there is a lot of people, just with clients that I've worked with and myself included, there is a fear around money.
Oh, totally.
So some people might like, oh, if I have too much, it's people might think about this about me, or if I have too little, this is what people will think if I just have enough. So, one of the powerful exercises that I did, as silly as it sounds, is I took each amount, like a $5, $20, $50, $100, and I sat with it and I asked, what feelings do I get with this? And what surprised me, because overall I thought I was okay with money, but what surprised me is the negative emotions that I had around a 50 and $100 bills. And I was like, huh, that's interesting. Why is that? Well, it came to like, oh, I wasn't worthy of it. I needed to like hold on to it so tight with it, because that's the other thing. And when you hold on so tight with something, the more unlikely it's gonna let go, because that fear is stronger than accepting.
Well, I think a lot of people have a misconception under the more money I have, the happier I'll be. They put money and happiness together when in reality, the only one that can be happy is self. And you will be happy as long as you let yourself be happy, whether you make minimum wage or you make $100 an hour. It's up to you to make that decision, not money.
Yeah. And that's where gratitude actually starts really playing a role in it, because that gives you unlimited potential. I was reading on a study, I think it was Joe Vitale, that it was his experience, but he was homeless, and he said he was kind of heard somebody talk about gratitude, and he said it changed his life, because he goes, well, what do I have to be gratitude? I don't have anything. I'm homeless. Like, and then he said he found a pencil, and he's like, well, I'm going to be gratitude for this pencil. So then he found a scrap piece of paper, and then from there, he started writing down ideas. So he said, if that wasn't for the pencil I had and the paper I had, I could start seeing my ideas. And now, like, he's a world renowned kind of thought leader around the consciousness and how your thoughts become things. And he said if he didn't ever have gratitude for that pencil, he'd probably still be homeless.
It's all, yeah, how you think things through to move you forward. If
Yeah,
you are always in the negative, you will stay in the negative.
Yeah.
And it's
And
hard for change.
yeah. And that's where we kind of touched about it on the scarcity and an abundant mindset, where like a lot of times when we're in kind of that negative, we're looking at the scarcity. So we only tend to focus on the problem. And the problem then gets bigger, bigger, and bigger. Where when you're in abundant, you focus on the solution. Then all of a sudden, all these solutions start coming into play.
For sure. Yeah. It's just it's just about, again, we're talking just to update your thought process. Again, stay in the positive, stay away from the knots and the negatives. Learn to be, like Rhonda said, grateful for what you have moving forward, and just watch change happen. As long as you're being open to receive. That's a
Yeah.
lot to have.
Yeah. Well, and I'll give you kind of a real life example for myself. Like I've kind of shared my COVID experiences, and this is where your mind is actually very powerful. You don't have to believe everything that has been said. Because initially, and the doctors were like literally preparing, they told me I would be on oxygen for the rest of my life. And I was like, that's not gonna happen. So like with I called upon Archangel Raphael, and I said see myself living without oxygen, and the doctors were kind of amazed because I didn't I walked out of the hospital with no oxygen.
Yeah.
But had I accepted that theory that I needed oxygen, that my body would have responded accordingly.
For sure. For sure. And and do you see how easy it is? Sorry, Rhonda, but I'm going to bring it to people's attention because they
Yeah,
probably heard the didn'ts and the don'ts that you said in your story.
yeah,
And it's that easy to say it, but she's just reiterating a story. She's not asking for anything,
yeah,
so she's just talking about of what a life experience for her.
yep. And that's where things where I, when you kind of are wanting to kind of change certain words or in your vocabulary, I like the elastic band method. This is we're an elastic band and snapping it when I'm like, oh, I don't want this. Oh, snap. Or I can't have it. Snap. So what you realize is if you kind of keep track, you'll realize you'll do it less and less. It's again bringing it forward to your thought process.
And that's, again, I ask that they bring it to my attention. And, it makes me think of how to reword things. Like, really, and you'll find sometimes it's difficult. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you really have to think of how do you would like to reword what you've just said. And you know what? That's a good thing because it brings it
Mm-hmm.
to your forefront.
Yeah. Yeah. And then that's where like doing like even some self-reflection is like those challenging words that because again, like we are talking about words or energy or whatever. And it's like, look at some of these, what I call low vibration words that may not be necessarily low vibration, but it brings some form of fear or resistance around it. So I'm thinking of like, I'm bored. So what's the opposite of bored? Okay. So how does that make me feel in my body? So when you're kind of using like certain language that especially the ones that you find that you consistently use and just going, hey, what's that about? Does that bring me joy? Is it lifting my vibration or is it lowering my vibration?
Yeah, I get, it's just the little things that work for each of us. Like, you'll find for yourself how you can bring yourself to the attention to keep yourself in the positive.
Yeah. Well, a common phrase, and I remember it used to drive my parents nuts, but I really turned, and this is kind of back, and I'm going to age myself a little bit. This is before paper was at Canadian, when money was actually on paper, not plastic. But a common phrase was, well, does money grow from trees? And I'm like, yeah, it does. It comes from paper. Paper comes from trees. Like, but that was like a common thing. But my rebuttal was, yeah, it does. Like, so I never had that belief that money was limited. And I do feel like it was kind of bringing back to that. So it's like kind of looking at those limiting phrases, even going, oh, okay.
Oh yeah, that was a lot. That was my generation too. Money doesn't grow
Yeah.
on trees.
Yeah.
It's made of flax. Yes, it is. Well, it's a plant.
So, and then is there,
Oh, I don't know. It's all about what we have already talked about in an other podcast, but we wanted to bring up for sure about make sure to keep yourself away from the nots, the don'ts, the won'ts, the can'ts, and keep yourself in the positive. Maybe change the wording to a stop,
yeah,
you know, and also, and Rhonda had mentioned, I believe, she says, like to say, instead of I can't, I can,
yeah,
I am able to do it.
yes. And I am is the most powerful statement you can make. I am this. So whether you view it as negative or positive with the next word that you put in, because you're calling into being of what you can or may not be able to do.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Well, do you have anything else you want to add, Rhonda? I think
No. Yeah.
so. Again, just stay in the positive. If you catch yourself, remember you can do the cancel, clear, delete, and start over. It's okay.
And you find me do that lots. I even do it in the readings. My reading.
Oh, me too. It's kind of, and it's okay because, like I said before, we're human.
Oh,
Okay, well, thanks for joining us for this episode. See you next time.
yes. Thank you. Take care. Bye. Thank you for listening to Divine Dialogues, Intuitives Unveiled. If you would like to work with Tracey and Rhonda, our information is posted in the show notes.
Now, our new episodes are going to fall on Tuesdays. So if you're interested in receiving a free meditation on connecting to your guardian angels, click that link below to subscribe to the Angel Empowerment Wellness Center newsletter. Thanks for joining us.
Take care, everybody.